Pouring group. Access. To access the pouring group, just open the door. The service engineer needing to intervene on the system will need a 10mm socket wrench, a 2.5 and 3mm Allen key, small and large Phillips screwdrivers, two 17mm wrenches, 10 and 21mm wrenches, a pin extractor, pliers, Teflon and clamp. The engineer will need to switch off the machine, remove the grounds drawer, turn the key anti-clockwise and then open the front panel. The pouring group is in the middle. Pouring group removal. The engineer will have to remove the Phillips screw holding the motor protection guard in place, and then use a 10mm socket wrench to loosen the right-hand screw. Next, remove the motor cover and the guard protecting the pouring group plug. Remove the top piston, taking off the clip and sliding it out from below. Remove the group wiring plug and pouring pipe. This operation involves pressing the metal ring and pulling the Teflon pipe. The technicians have to loosen the top screw from the pouring group using a 2.5mm Allen key and to remove the bottom one, holding the group in place with one hand. Next, the engineer will remove the pouring group, sliding it downwards. Group motor removal. The service engineer now needs to remove the two screws at the top, under the upper motor bracket, with a 10mm wrench. Slide out the motor and the supply fasten connections. This operation can be carried out with the group fitted to the machine and following the same procedure. Heating element and probe removal. To remove the heating element, loosen the 2mm Allen screw and slide it out. Free the wiring from the clamps and then use an extractor to disconnect the two pins from the wiring connector. The temperature probe is located at the base of the infusion chamber. Use a 2.5mm Allen wrench to remove the two screws. Then free the wiring from the clamps and disconnect the two pins from the wiring connector. This operation is possible with the group fitted on the machine, following the same procedure. Movement screw and bearings removal. To remove the movement screw, it's necessary to remove the group from the machine. Take out the motor and then remove the four 2.5mm Allen screws from the top support of the group. This way, it's possible to remove the worm screw by loosening it. The worm screw is located in the right-hand side of the infusion chamber. To remove it, loosen the four 2.5mm Allen screws. The bearings are part of the worm screw. To replace or clean the bearings, remove the nut and support nut using two 17mm wrenches. Then remove the first bearing, the support and bushing, and then the second bearing. When refitting these parts, the service engineer will take care to correctly position the first worm screw bearing, which is comprised of 2 washers with a grooved part inside and the balls in the centre. The next thing is to insert the bushing inside the support and then to insert the support into the worm screw. Now, fit the second bearing and the first of the 2 nuts. Tighten with a 17mm wrench. Make sure that the movement is correct and check the clearance of the support. Slide on the nut support and tighten with a 17mm double wrench. Again, make sure that the movement is correct and check the clearance of the support. Grease the bearings and bushing with lubricating spray. Infusion chamber and micromagnetics removal. To remove the infusion chamber, it's necessary to remove the group from the machine, and after taking out the motor, to loosen the 2 10mm screws in the bottom group support and the 2 rear Phillips screws. Remove the base and with the aid of a 17mm wrench, slide the infusion chamber out from the bottom, turning the worm screw anti-clockwise. The back panel of the infusion chamber contains its magnetic positioning sensor. The back plate of the pouring group contains the 3 microswitches for group positioning. The 3 micromagnetic switches serve to check the bottom, intermediate and top position of the infusion chamber. Before removing them, mark their positions with a marker pen and then take out each micromagnetic switch by removing the 2.5mm screw to free them from the clamps and using an extractor to take the 2 pins out from the wiring connector. Blade ejector worm screw and blade ejector removal. The blade ejector worm screw is located on the lower support bracket of the group. Once the pouring group has been removed, it's possible to take out the worm screw by removing the 2 screws on the base with a Phillips screwdriver. To remove the blade ejector, it's necessary to take out the motor and to remove the screw on the blade ejector with a 3mm Allen wrench. Gently turn the blade to free it from the shaft and slide the shaft out from the bottom. When refitting, the engineer will have to reposition the shaft, preload the spring by 2.5 turns using the blade, add in the screw soft Loctite and then tighten the 3mm Allen screw. Maintenance. Routine maintenance on the group is recommended every 30,000 pouring cycles. Group maintenance is carried out as follows. Switch off the machine and press the up and down arrow keys until the display reads test. Press the 2 times clean key to pass to the heating elements and motor's test function. The engineer will remove the grounds drawer and, Turning the key anti-clockwise, open the front door. The engineer needs to take out the top piston by removing the motor cover with a Phillips screwdriver and loosening a nut. Remove the clip of the top piston and the silicon coffee pipe, then slide out the top piston. With the aid of a flathead screwdriver, the engineer will remove the screws securing the piston shower. Clean the shower well with a damp cloth or leave to soak a while in hot water and pulley calf. If the shower is too dirty, replace it with a new one. Using a flathead screwdriver, the engineer will remove the seal and rinse off the seating and also the piston surface and soak them in hot water and pulley calf. Next, use a screwdriver to insert the new seal and make sure that it fits perfectly into the seating. Screw the shower back onto the piston. The program will have remained in manual movement mode. To replace the seal on the bottom piston with the machine door open, press 7 and move the chamber to the bottom position. Remove the drawer and take off the bottom O-ring with a pair of pliers. Press the number 6 key to move the chamber to the top position. Slide out the springs and remove the central O-ring on the bottom piston shaft. Press 7 key and release it before the blade starts its ejection movement. Slide the piston out from the top. Press 8 to send the group to the intermediate position. Take out the 2.5mm Allen screw to remove the group's temperature probe. With the aid of a 21mm wrench, remove the screw supporting the seal and slide it out with one finger. The engineer will use a flathead screwdriver to take out the screw, securing the shower to the piston. Clean the shower with a damp cloth or leave to soak in hot water and pulley calf. If the shower is too dirty, replace it with a new one. Make sure that the piston surfaces are clean. Replace the bottom piston seal and then fit the new one. Insert the piston into the chamber. Press key number 6. Use food-grade lubricant to grease the bottom piston shaft and slip on the new seal and feet. Tighten the screw with a 21mm wrench and make sure that the bottom piston can complete its stroke freely. The engineer will then insert the supports and springs. Fit the O-ring in the middle of the bottom piston shaft together with the previously assembled springs. Press key number 7 to lower the chamber and release it when the piston is about to enter the bottom support of the spring. Press the piston down with one hand to make sure that the shaft is centered with the support. Press 7 to move the group to the bottom position. Insert the bottom O-ring. Press 8 to move to an intermediate position and refit the temperature probe. Press the keys for 6, 7, 8 in sequence to move the group and make sure that the top and bottom pistons are correctly aligned. To change the position of the microswitch, loosen the screw by half a turn before positioning the microswitch at the top or bottom and then tightening the screw. Use the relevant key to check the new position. The correct position of the bottom micromagnetic screw. Check the new position with the relevant key. The correct position for the bottom microswitch is when the blade is at 90 degrees compared to the front panel. The correct position for the intermediate micro is when the blade is 5 mm away from the ground coffee chute. The correct position of the top microswitch is when the whole top piston seal is inside the chamber. Also, clean the guides with a damp cloth and a degreasing soap, moving the chamber up and down so as to remove any dirt from the whole surface of the guides. Use a spray-on grease to lubricate the guides, especially the bushings of the infusion chamber and the bearings on the worm screw.